You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret! You've got to shoot it!
So, hi and welcome back to the Whiteout, the first for 2023-24 winter ski season, where we're going to dive into all things snowy and fun. I'm your host, Dom Killinger from In the Snow, and today, as usual, joined by my fabulous co-host. What do I say, Rob? Rob Stewart.
Fabulous is good. Hi, Dom. Yeah, good. Yeah, it's very exciting to be recording our first podcast of the winter. I will say winter. That's just looking ahead. Yesterday, I was sitting outside having lunch in the sun, but I know it's all going to change soon, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Certainly is 25 degrees at the minute, but we hope the temperature drops ready in time for the NEC at Birmingham this weekend, which is the 14th, 15th of October, and then the following week at Excel, 21st, 22nd, is that right? Yeah.
That's right. So the following week at Excel. And a few things going on in between, and that's always the mark of the winter, isn't it? It's when I can sort of smell the ski wax calling me from my basement where I am right now.
Probably the smell of your boots that weren't stored properly, Rob.
Well, there is that as well, and I'm very good at sorting ski equipment out at the end of the winter, actually, which is a top tip for anybody that has their own equipment. Just get it done at the end of the winter, dry it all out, and you're ready to go again.
Good of you, Rob, to be so organised. Not like me, where I stuff it under a bed and hope it'll all be safe, ready for when I come back to it the next season. I'm sure there's plenty of listeners that can understand my way of doing things. So, without further ado, Rob, let's get back into the news, because even though we are very early in the season, there does seem to be plenty of news kicking about, doesn't there? A quick reminder to listeners, your review really does count. It's not just vanity for Rob and I, but it actually helps other like-minded skiers find this podcast. So please do take 2 seconds to hit the 5 stars and tell us how great it is. And of course, if you don't like it, let's keep it a secret between us. So maybe you want to kick off with the first news item for 2023-24. What have you got for us?
Well, I spotted this. It's the heading is a recent studies that indicate the probability of sustaining an injury slipping in winter conditions. Basically, that's higher than when you're skiing. And I spotted it because I've had personal experience of this myself. I mean, one of the worst injuries I ever had over the many years of skiing was slipping on the ice, walking around the resort. Many years ago, I was in hospital for quite a few days. Nasty accident, and it taught me a lesson.
We've all seen those people go sliding down the street and straight over and crashing onto their backside.
It happens, and it happened to me. And lessons were wear really good shoes and don't put your hands in your pockets, because that's what happened, and I hit my head. So, but there's been a recent report by the Finnish brand S.E.T that said since the 1970s, the overall risk of being injured in a skiing accident has decreased by between 80 and 90, mainly due to advances in ski equipment. But in comparison, the risk of being injured after slipping on the ice and snow has remained the same during the same period. So basically, the report is saying there's twice the chance of injury whilst walking around compared to actually skiing now.
I would love to see where these stats came from, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not clear on how the data has come to that conclusion. So I did sort of dig around at that. I was a bit unconvinced about the data. But at the same time, I kind of agree with the principle. Yeah, good on S.E.T for coming up with a bit of an innovative storyline to try and promote, which is basically one of their outdoor shoes.
I see what they're trying to do here.
Yeah. So, I mean, they obviously sell winter shoes. They've got the Tornio Drymax X, and they're just pointing out that particular shoe is pretty good for walking around in ski resorts. Most of us don't want to fall over when we're skiing. And then you get off the slopes, you kind of relax, and you think, and then boom, you slip on that ice. And it's happened to me. A quick shout out to our charity partner, Snow Camp, the game-changing national youth charity who turn young lives around with the power of snow sports. Visit snowcamp.org.uk or search Snowcamp online to get in touch and to get involved.
Very good.
What have you got, Dom?
So Ingham's have launched this ski train routes. So traveling to the Alps, obviously, I don't know whether you've done it, Rob, by train, but obviously a fantastic way. It's such a beautiful way to travel down.
Did it last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, Ingham's have launched a number of holidays that are offering the train travel to various resorts across the Alps, not just Bourg-Saint-Maurice, Les Arcs, but they do offer that too. But also into places like St. Anton in Austria and a number of Swiss resorts such as Wengen, Mürren and St. Moritz, Salzgitter in Italy, all being reached by train. So it's very cool that they're building in train travel. It is a super luxury way of traveling. I don't think about the sort of some of the train lines that run in the UK, but when you get down into Europe, it is a lovely luxury way of traveling. And it kind of feels very hassle-free. So it's definitely worthwhile, because the minute you go on that train, you pack all your bags on there and you get sat down, it's just lovely watching that countryside blitz away, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's so relaxing.
So well worth checking out the likes of Skiline or Ingham's, checking out some of their deals. I see prices starting at £629 for 7 nights self-catering in Val d'Isère, including train fares. I mean, that is pretty damn good.
Good deal.
Super good deal. That is something else.
Yeah.
I actually thought there was a typo. I thought there was a one missing out of that, but that is so good.
No, that's correct. Yeah, Skiline are offering that in December, 7 nights self-catering. I think it's based on 4 people staying in an apartment, but still, but it's including a return train ticket.
Hit me with this very next tenuous news story, Rob. You must be proud of this story.
No, I love this story. Actually, I don't love this story. I just had to get that in the word love. Yeah, the winter destinations you're most likely to get engaged. I mean, it's not one of our typical ski stories, is it? But it is a bit of a daft story, but I can't help myself. A press release arrived in my inbox from Sky Park Secure, an airport parking website. And I mean, fair enough for thinking of a story to promote car parking, but it's still daft. But anyway, they looked at the winter destinations where people are most likely to get engaged, and Salzburg came out tops, which I thought is fair enough. I mean, Salzburg, it's a lovely city, I get it. But also in the top 10 was Vienna, Basel and Prague, all lovely places. And, you could tie that into a ski trip, because this did have a kind of ski winter angle to it. But there were a few anomalies as well.
Come on. Where was it?
I mean, I quite like Solihull, actually. Smart part of Birmingham. Definitely a place where you could hang out for an engagement plan. But I mean, I'm sure there's nothing against Gdansk. I mean, I've never been there, so fair enough. I mean, it could be I'm sure it's really nice if listeners have been there. Nuremberg and Cardiff. I mean, nothing against the places, but I'm sure they all. I mean, Cardiff has its nice spots as well. It's not far from me. I just think you might choose somewhere like Zermatt or Courchevel over those places. I'm just saying. But well done, Sky Park.
Who came up with this? Who came?
Well, Sky Park
done this for a reason. I see.
Sky Park Secure Car Parks came up with this to promote their airport parking. So we're very innovative. We've totally fallen for the trap and promoted their story. So
well, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
And then obviously the ski show we've already mentioned, but I thought it's worthwhile mentioning that In the Snow are running the Ask the Expert stand. So if you're coming down to the ski show, you want a bit of impartial advice. You don't just want somebody from the Three Valleys telling you that the Three Valleys is the best place to ski in, although it is a fabulous place to ski in. Then pop on down to see us at the NEC. I think we're on stand D55, but you'll know where we are because we're the ones with masses of magazines giving away for free. Come and get impartial advice. You might even find Rob on our stand, who's extremely knowledgeable.
I hope so.
But at the same time, at the show, there are also celebrity lineups, the likes of Ed Lee, Eve Muirhead, Eddie Eagle Edwards. Can you believe it? Some very cool people. You've got Warren from the Warren Smith Ski Academy doing some coaching. You've got Crystal Holidays with their beginner snow dome. So some very cool stuff going on at the show. We've got a free ticket giveaway at the moment. I wonder if that's going to be extended or not, but definitely worth coming down. Look up National Snow Week or National Snow Shows online and see the NEC the 14th and 15th of October. So an exciting weekend ahead. Very much looking forward to seeing our colleagues and our skier buddies coming down and seeing us and grabbing a copy of the free magazine. Just thought I'll put a plug in there, Rob.
Very good. Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be good fun.
Yeah, that's it. What else have we got?
Apparently, ARC's 1950 turns 20 this year.
Wow.
No.
Haven't you? Okay, right. I'm doing this story. I'm going to do this story then. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I was there 2 years ago. So we're talking about Village. Very cool. It's a cool little ski resort. And obviously it's roped into the whole Les Arcs area. But back in 2003, they created this sort of ski in, ski out luxury, spas in every residence. Bit of a vibe, little bit of stuff going on. But one thing that really turned me, super cool restaurants there. Really, every dinner out was almost like a best ever dinner. It was the brainchild of a local French guy. No, it wasn't. It was the brainchild of a Canadian mastermind being Interest, the people that built Whistler. So you've got this.
No, that's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
They're very smart.
Yeah. Interest coming in, super big company, and they've said, we're going to create a very cool little village in the center of this mountainous area, and we're going to make it look like an old French resort. And I tell you, they really have done the job. It's all ski in, ski out, and you come out of your hotel or your apartment, you can walk to absolutely everything, whether it be your ski hire, your ski lessons, the lift, whatever you want, it's all there, but surrounded by real chalet style stone walls, slate roofs. It's literally fairy tale ski resort stuff. So I really did rate it. I have to say, we had a really good time there. As I say, the food was great. And it was a very sort of magical little resort to be in. And when I say little, it is small, but there is, loads of restaurants. I can't remember how many. There must have been 15, 20 odd restaurants, a few cool après bars. We were there for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah.
We were there for St. Patrick's Day. And
I was going to say every night of the week normally.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We were there for St. Patrick's Day, and that was super good fun. So, yeah, 20.
So hang on. Sorry to butt in, but the news story here is not that it's turning 20 years old. The news story here is actually Dom loves Arc 1950.
I did. I really enjoyed myself there. The news story is 20 years old, and they're going to have a year-long party. Think Christmas magic, New Year's extravaganzas, live concerts, DJs, fireworks, the whole shebang going on to celebrate being 20 years old. So go and dance on the snow. Epic birthday treat. Arc 1950. Love it. Wow. Arc 19. You've got to go there, Rob.
Well, obviously.
I
clearly do need to go there. Now
get there with your family.
Sold it to me.
Yeah.
You've sold it to me. There you go. You have.
Right. What's next?
Yeah, nice story here. S.E.T skiers smashing the world record. It's a really, really amazing story. It's sort of warm your hearts kind of story in a way when people do things that are really challenging like this. And a group of 8 skiers from all corners of the UK, they got together at Chill Factory in Manchester to break a world record. Not just any record, they skied the furthest using seated equipment, all in the spirit of raising money, of course, for the awesome ski charity Disability Snowsport UK, DSUK. So, yeah, they had their eyes set on a goal, skiing 44 kilometers within 8 hours. But actually, you know what they did? They completely smashed it out of the park. In just over 6 hours, they covered a whole over 60 kilometers, wow, totaling 399 runs, breaking the record by almost 20 kilometers.
That's pretty cool in a dome. It's not easy clocking up big mileage in the domes, is it?
It's not easy, and I'm sure it was a physical and mental challenge to do that. And the record breakers were skiers including Will McPherson, Amber, Alex McPherson, Ollie Jones, Duncan White, and Scott Jason Hillier. Their aim was to raise £3,000 for DSUK, and they've already hit a fantastic 72% of their goal. So they're still trying to get a bit more cash there. But yeah, that was a nice story, I think. Nice.
Just awaiting final approval from Guinness World Records. That must be super exciting. Imagine getting that through. Imagine being a record holder. Are you a record holder in anything, Rob?
Not according to the Guinness World of Records. I'm not. I'm sure I've broken many records of various things in my time, but nothing that Guinness would be vaguely interested in at all. And they are very strict.
And so our next story was entitled Autumn Snow. Obviously not much going on the snow front just yet. However, we do run a regularly updated blog on In the Snow. I'm going to give that another plug if you don't mind. If you type into Google, where is good to ski now, you'll often come across In the Snow site, and it'll give you the most up-to-date. So if it's between podcasts, just type in where is good to ski now, check out In the Snow. We give you up-to-date. So as soon as that snow starts falling, I know there was some snow earlier on a few weeks ago, but obviously things have warmed up a little bit since then. But let's keep an eye out. Hopefully by the time the next podcast comes around, we've got something to say on the snow front. What's next?
Shall we continue with news?
So Rob, the next story caught my eye. Tell us about this. The world's first, are you ready for this? On-demand gondola. Now, I like the sound. It actually told me you could go anywhere, and I don't think you could get into that gondola and say, take me to Innsbruck or anything like that. But tell us about the on-demand gondola.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. And I think it's genuinely kind of sounds like it's the first one of its kind. And it's in Lax in Switzerland. Okay. Pretty much a game changer. Named the Flem Express. We'll move on from that one, but it's the Flem Express. It's certainly one that you won't forget. But gondola cabins that don't run empty. they only leave the station when there's someone on board. So it's all about saving energy, I guess money as well, but but really importantly energy. And apparently up to 50% of the energy is then saved when this sort of on-demand service is there. And obviously that's going towards the commitment that they have to sustainability, which is a great idea, isn't it? I mean, it is a great idea. The gondolas don't need to run if there's nobody in them.
Absolutely right. That is exactly the sort of initiatives that we need to see more of. I wonder how easily they could change other gondolas to run the same, or if that's just not possible.
I have no idea, not being sort of an engineer or anything, or knowing about how that's constructed. I mean, potentially retrospectively fitting this kind of technology, I can't see why not on existing gondolas.
Or just spend the 7 million like the Flem Express have in Lux. Just do that. I mean, why not?
Well, there is that, and I'm sure the cable car company that builds these things would love those words coming out of you, Don. But perhaps they have got a good future. Whoever thought of this idea, it's definitely something that other ski resorts must be looking at, right?
Yeah,
it's going to save money, and of course, if they can then say, we're being much more sustainable about our power, then it's just good for them, and it's good for everybody, right? So
I read a bit more about this, Rob.
Okay,
if you don't mind me interrupting.
No.
So they've got this, I don't know whether you've ever driven an electric car, but as you take your foot off the accelerator and it automatically slows down, it regenerates the battery. And they've put the same tech into this. So they've got this e-motion vehicle drive system. It means autonomous travel. And on the way down, the kinetic energy is converted into electric, ready for its journey back up again. So that's quite cool.
I mean, it's very cool. I would just add that in the Jungfrau region of Switzerland, the railways that have actually been doing that for, I believe, and I might be wrong about this, but I think they've been doing that for almost 100 years, transferring kinetic energy into electricity as those trains go down the hill. They repower the battery so that they can go back up again, and it's a clever system.
We need to tell Elon Musk this. He is not innovative.
Well, Elon Musk doesn't have the advantage of everything being able to go up or down a hill. Yeah. He has to power his vehicles on flat surfaces as well, without the aid of gravity, and therefore the challenges, I suppose, are slightly different. But no,
very cool. I think so
that's opening. That's opening on the 16th of December.
Yep.
The Flem Express.
So my last story today is the bobsleigh pilot experience in La Plan. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Very cool. Pilot your own bobsleigh. Once in a lifetime opportunity, January 12th to the February the 9th. And you get a choice whether you want to go super fast and absolutely crazy, i.e. sit behind a professional and just hold on for dear life and leave your pants behind. Or you can do a much slower version. But very cool. I mean, when you watch that bobsleigh in the Olympics, I mean, it's super fast. It's super fun. You can imagine the adrenaline. I think it's a great thing for the plan to bring in there. I mean, that's something that really adds to your ski holiday, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, I'd love to get into a bobsleigh. I think I'd just rather sit behind the professional pilot myself and have that proper experience of traveling down that bobsleigh. Like I guess there's some skill involved in actually steering those things around the corners, and therefore, you're not going to get that the first time up, are you? But yeah. What a great thing to be clear, to do.
But I mean, that £500 experience, that is a full day experience. If you want to do the full Monties, you do the track walk, you do 2 super fast descents, 1 in a 2-person bobsleigh versus a passenger, and then taking the reins of the pilot, and all under the professional guidance of a fully trained, certified pilot. And there we go.
Nice thing. Okay.
That rounds up our news for the start, the very first news session of the White Owl podcast. 2023-24. How exciting, Rob.
Very exciting. I am excited already just talking about skiing.
So what have we got next? Resort Spotlight?
Resort Spotlight. Yes. I think you're going to talk a little bit about this, Don. Vaujany in the French Alps. One of those sort of hidden gems, isn't it? Vaujany.
It is a hidden gem. I was there 2 seasons ago. It's one of those sort of unspoilt, sort of charming villages. It's set right in the hillside, looking straight across the mountain over at Alpe d'Huez there, which is the 5th largest ski area in France, which is pretty damn cool. And I think the reason people have spotted this is super cool little village. It is small, just the choice of a few restaurants, some nice apartments. It does have a cool sports centre there with sort of a pool and water slides and gym and ice rink, even got laser biathlon. I didn't get to have a go on that, but that sounded very cool. It's not a place you go for your après, but probably typically suited to families that want to save a bit of cash because it's not as expensive to be there. So you're looking at about 250 kilometers a piece, jewel in its crown being the Pic Blanc Glacier. Did you see the way I said that? So obviously that's super cool, being up at 3,300 meters. It's got a long descent, black run, 16 kilometers. I think it's the longest black run in the world. But yeah, I've got plenty of other, plenty of other runs available. So obviously, if you're not into your big black runs, that's okay. You can do, you can do the reds and the blues as well. And another big plus for this lesser known resort, it's not an unknown resort, but a lesser known resort, is the fact that it's blessed with a lot of sunshine, Rob. So they are fully southerly facing, and they say it gets 300 sunny days a year. Pretty nice.
I've been there once, and it was many, many years ago, and I just have this memory of it, that it was very pretty. I was based in Alpe d'Huez at the time, and it was pretty early days of as a resort. It was a new resort at the time. And we skied down there, and it was very quiet, but also very, very, very pretty. Very, very nice scenery.
Yeah, it is it's a pretty looking resort. Everything's very chocolate boxy there. I got there quite late season, but we did have a good dump of snow when we arrived, and it meant that we got some good skiing in for 2 or 3 days, which was really, really nice. Very short transfer from Grenoble Airport, which is very handy. Great lift connection. So the great thing about it is that, and I'm not being paid to say this, I'm telling you because I went there and I thought it was worthwhile telling our listeners, and that is the fact that if you want a little lower cost, and if you want less queues, so obviously you're not going to get the big queues that you might get down in some of the bigger resorts. I'm not saying they do always get big queues, but certainly in those busier times, you would tend to find you could likely get up on the hill while people are still queuing down in Alpe d'Huez. Okay. You're not blessed with big après. You're not going to be dancing on tables, and you haven't got dozens of restaurants to choose from. There are a few, but you're not talking about staying there a fortnight and eating out in a different place every night. But it's pretty, good skiing on the doorstep, good connection, lower priced, easy transfer, nice and sunny, and you can get up into the main ski domain, which is, one of the biggest in France. So pretty cool, actually.
Okay.
Bunch of people go there. Ski France got me onto this one.
Okay.
Chatting to the guys there, and they got me onto that. And Peak Retreats as well, actually. In fact, it was Peak Retreats I went with, and it was Ski France that put it onto my radar this year.
Yeah.
So definitely a place worth looking up if you're looking for something a bit different. It's just not your everyday. And obviously, if you want to ski down into Alpe d'Huez, then you can do, and go down and have lunch down there, and that's cool. You can go down and experience slightly busier. Yeah.
Easy to do that. Yeah.
Very
easy. It's an easy connection, isn't it? It's not like a big long haul connection.
No, not at all. I mean, we just went down for lunchtime pizza, which came out slightly on fire. And when we sent it back, they cut the bits that were on fire off and brought back the same pizza.
Okay. What had they put on the pizza that created the fire in the first place? Was it like a firelighter pizza or something?
The toppings were all fine. It was just around the edge. It was smoking. It was almost on fire. And we just looked at the guy and said, yeah, we're not going to be able to eat that. And he said, okay, no problem. Really sorry, really sorry. So we went out, and it just came back, and it was just the circle in the middle, and all the crusts had been cut off.
Oh, it wasn't like you didn't order a tofu pizza, and then instead of the tofu, they'd put firelighters on it instead. I always think that tofu and firelighters look quite similar to each other.
Similar, yeah. No, afraid not. But,
okay.
These things have to happen, don't they, to make you remember about a ski resort? And that was just one thing. This was in Alpe d'Huez, this wasn't in Vaujany. But yes, so there you go.
It's interesting that we've got 2 resorts that you obviously like quite a lot, Dom, that I've never been to. So I'm feeling slightly inadequate right now.
I'm sure that won't last, Rob.
No, it won't. Right, so we're on to our gear section. We always search out lots of interesting new bits of gear to talk about. Dom,
we always love a bit of gear, don't we? So yeah, kick off.
No, actually, I'm going to kick off with a new avalanche survival system. Actually, it's really interesting. It's called the SafeBack X Avalanche Survival System, a game changer apparently for avalanche rescue. And they say the SafeBack Avalanche Survival System is a groundbreaking innovation in avalanche safety, extending the survival timeline of buried victims under the snow. So it's designed to combat, those kind of grim stats that we sometimes see of avalanche fatalities due to suffocation. It's obviously quite a rare thing. Talking about off-piste skiers and ski tourists here. and that put themselves into that sort of terrain where avalanches can happen. Just add around 90% of those avalanche victims are fall victim to the fact that they've started their own avalanche off-piste. That's the stats that we know. But a bit of kit like this is another tool in the box that can really help save lives.
Is it mega money?
It's 545. What is 545 pounds at the end of the day if it's a system that's going to work?
Yeah.
As we know, victims buried under, say, 500 kilograms per cubic meter of snow, they've just got 15 minutes before they start to suffocate. Wow. And what the XBX system does, it changes this with it's got a fan-based air pump stowed in a compatible backpack. So it's an air pump and a backpack.
Yeah.
And what it does, it takes the fresh air out of the snow, and it supplies the buried skier or snowboarder with breathable oxygen for over 90 minutes. So
if that works, it is game changing.
It's genuinely game changing if you can actually continue to breathe. Yeah. Because most of the problem, of course, an avalanche could be. We don't want to go into it too much, but an avalanche could you could have other problems.
Just going to wipe you out.
Yeah. But if you're one person and there's 3 people buried and you've got to find them, good luck finding that third person within the 15 minutes. But so something like this. There has been systems in the past where there's the Avalung system that's been around for a long time, where you've got some air stored and you can actually breathe through that. But I think this does look like the technology has come up a level here with this system. But you can check it out. I believe it's a Norwegian brand. So but this looks really good.
Ultra heat boost gloves.
Ooh.
So these are people who get super cold hands.
Nice.
So they have Primaloft insulation, good strong leather palms. So you get nice, soft, super cool gloves with all the right technology built in. Great insulation, nice warm hands, super cold temperatures. A lot of people suffer, don't they? So nice. I mean, game changer in its own right. They are exclusively available at Ellis Brigham, 300 quid. More than just a fancy accessory. For those people who really do suffer, I think it's a real game changer for them. Yeah, just survive the winter, thrive in it with ultra heat boost gloves. Right?
Well, I mean, there's, I think a glove that does that very, very simply and very easily can be fantastic in those kind of reasonably rare times when it does get really cold and the gloves that you might have aren't good enough. So brilliant. A little bit similar to the new Thermic S.E.T ultra warm performance ski socks in a way, which is apparently, according to them, the pinnacle of winter sports comfort. And it's a new sock crafted with cutting edge technology, a smart elastic technology is what the S.E.T stands for. This innovative design seamlessly integrates a thin 2mm heating line around the toes.
Oh, wow.
Providing a warming action without compromising the sock's fit.
Nice.
Yeah. So
and the gloves,
they sound really interesting. That and the gloves.
You're going to have warm hands, warm feet.
Exactly. And these socks are exclusively available at skibartlett.com.
Ah.
They are £290. But, obviously, if they are going to keep your feet very, very toasty warm.
Call me old-fashioned, Rob. Call me old-fashioned, but I would generally change my socks during the week.
They've got to have a solution for that. I mean, I'm not sure how it works, but I'm imagining that actually, the system and the sock I'm not sure if it's integrated or not, but clearly you don't want to wear the same ski sock all week on your skiing holiday.
Especially there are going to be times. There's got to be times when that sock is on heat and your feet are warm. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Interesting.
I'll have to look into that as well. But check it out at skibartlett.com. And again, they are the Thermic S.E.T ultra warm performance ski socks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so my next one is the Degree 7. Is that how you say that? Degree 7? Degree 7? Mm-hmm. The D-Rack ski jacket. A blend of sophistication and functionality. 289 quid. Good price. So it's for the real fashion conscious adventurer. Super sleek. Looks very smart. Could be worn on the street as well. But good high performance. They are synonymous with quality, this brand, Degree 7. So it's a great price for a good quality jacket. waterproof membrane, bi-stretch fabric. It's got that whole stay dry, good movement, 100% recycled polyester insulation. So you've got super nice warmth and coziness throughout. And what else?
It's nice to see that brand around. Degree
Yeah.
7 has been around for a long time. It was very, very cool in the 80s. It kind of went away for a while.
Yeah.
It started by Patrick Valençon, and he was an extreme skier who unfortunately passed away many years ago, not in a skiing accident, but in a completely crazy freak bungee jumping accident. But yeah, not nice, but a cool guy, very, very cool guy. And he was the founder, I believe, of Degree 7. And it's just a cool brand. Really nice, really nice stuff. Always has been. Yeah.
Very slick. And that
like
seems a really good price, doesn't it? 289 quid for this jacket.
For a good technical jacket, yeah.
Yeah. And available at cotswoldoutdoor.com and snowandrock.com. So yeah, not just outerwear, but something that you can wear on the slopes and look very stylish and around town as well. So it's a good thing to get for the winter as well. And our final item, Rob, for this week is, what have you got?
I think we found a helmet from Sweet Protection here, the Trooper 2 VI MIPS ski helmet. I mean, I do like a Sweet Protection helmet in general, I must say.
Me too.
I'm a big fan of the Sweet Protection.
Yeah.
And what they say about this, it's a MIPS ski helmet. It's $279.95.
Yep.
It's for the sort of hard charging skier. It's engineered with what they say cutting edge features to ensure unparalleled safety in every descent. But
nice.
It's a high-end helmet, isn't it? £280 high-end helmet. MIPS. It's got a reinforced shell. It's got shock absorbing liner. It's got carbon reinforcements, and so it's very durable, very impact resistant.
Nice.
And obviously the MIPS, the multi-directional impact protection system built in, we know that reduces impact to the brain in the event of a crash or a hit to the head. And it's ideal really for sort of off-piste skiing, especially trees and rocks and that sort of thing. It's a proper full-on free ride helmet.
Very good.
So yeah, that looks great from Sweet Protection.
It's the Sweet Protection Trooper. Is it the 2 VI or the 2.6, do you think? So
I see what you're saying. Sorry. Yes, I
don't know whether that's called the 2.6 or the 2 VI, but whatever. If you're searching Google, Sweet Protection Trooper 2 VI MIPS ski helmet.
I'd say if you're Roman, it's the 2.6. If you're not,
exactly,
it's the 2 VI.
For that huge congregation of Roman listeners that we have. And it's available at skibartlett.com.
Okay.
So, Rob, moving swiftly on, bucket list ski trip. So this is the ski trip that people might have on their bucket list. They may or may never achieve it, but a destination that they're thinking, do you know what? I would absolutely bloody love that. That would be amazing. What have you got for us?
We're going to start with, and I know it seems like a strange time of year to start with this one, but I'll explain why. We're going to start with New Zealand, skiing in New Zealand. So actually we start with the whole country, not a destination. Obviously, it's just about the end of the New Zealand ski season now. They're coming right to the end of it. There's still a little bit of skiing here and there, but it's basically petering out. But I think if you're going to plan a ski trip to New Zealand, you're probably going to start doing it now, right? So that's why we're talking about that. I've skied there quite a lot. I haven't been there much over the recent years, so I'm sure things have changed a bit, but at least I can give an overall impression, I think, to the readers of what it's really like to go skiing in New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a true bucket list destination, isn't it? It's worth pointing out that it's very, very different experience to most of the big ski resorts in the Alps. I mean, to start with, generally the accommodation in New Zealand is off the mountain. You need to take a vehicle to get to the skiing area. The skiing areas are basically pretty small, especially if we're comparing them to most ski resorts in the Alps. They're very small. There's no sort of large interconnected ski resort areas like the Three Valleys, for example. It just doesn't exist. It's not even close to that. That doesn't mean there's not a lot. There's no fun to be had. I mean, there's a lot of fun to be had in skiing in New Zealand. There's two islands, north and south, or otherwise known as Te Ika and Maui, and as they are known in Maori. I probably didn't pronounce that quite correctly, but I'll give it a shot. In the North Island, the main areas, there's basically just two main areas in the North Island, and they're concentrated on one very, very large volcano, and it can go off, actually. It's called Mount Ruapehu, which is also the island's highest mountain. There's two separate skiing areas on opposite sides of the volcano, Turoa and Whakapapa. That's how you pronounce that. Yeah, the season here, it starts in June, like everywhere in New Zealand, and it goes on until late October. And these areas, actually, the country's largest skiing areas on the North Island. They can get a lot of snow as well, but the mountain's very exposed. It's just basically one big mountain that comes out the middle of the country. So they do get a lot of weather as well. And I've been up there a few times where it's just been like proper crazy weather. But I've also been there in the spring, basically around now, and it's been absolutely incredible. I mean, amazing spring skiing with incredible views across to Mount Taranaki, another volcano, and also onto the Pacific Ocean on a very clear day. So it's a pretty special place. But that's basically it for the North Island. Then head down to the south. I mean, there's a lot to explore down there. There's 5 sort of larger commercial ski areas. It's Mount Hart, close to Christchurch, Coronet Peak and the Remarkables near Queenstown. And then you've got Cardrona and Treble Cone, which are closer to Wanaka. Queenstown and Wanaka skiing areas are pretty close, so it's easy enough to explore all of them, providing you've got a vehicle. And for some perspective, the largest of those areas is Cardrona, I believe, and that's got 9 ski lifts and 40 kilometers of slopes, and that's the largest skiing area there. Yeah. So adult day passes at Cardrona or Treble Cone cost 160 New Zealand dollars, which is almost £80. So it's not cheap, but you can save online. You can buy multi-day passes. It gets the price down. So it then becomes cheaper if you plan it in advance, basically. You've also got a lot of club fields in New Zealand, which is a bit special and unusual. They tend to be smaller, but they're certainly no less fun. There's loads of them, actually. Craigieburn Valley, Broken River, Temple Basin, Mount Olympus, Fox Peak, Mount Cheeseman, Rainbow, Hamner Springs, Oahu, I think I've pronounced that right, Snowfields, Mount Dobson. I mean, lift passes are normally around half the price of those commercial areas. And you can go there as non-members as well. It's worth exploring. Every one of them has a website, so it's worth exploring those club field websites and just checking those out. If you're going to do a tour of New Zealand, it's worth getting to at least 2 or 3 of them to experience the sort of atmosphere, the feeling, what the terrain's like in those places. And then, on the other side of the scale to that, you've got the heli skiing operations in the South Island, such as Harris Mountains heli skiing, based out of Wanaka and Queenstown. So if you really want to go for it when you're in New Zealand, take advantage of that heli skiing. This thing is there's so much terrain. There's very few ski resorts, really, considering the mountains there, the huge range of mountains across, all the way down the spine of the South Island. Yeah. There's just so much. And of course, with the helicopter, you've got access to quite a lot of that. A 3-day run there starts at New Zealand dollars £1,295 per person, around £630 for a 3-run day. And which I think is, if you compare that to some other heli skiing operations around the world, it's pretty competitive, actually. Yeah. And for a big experience for a day, if you're really into skiing and off-piste skiing, then you can kind of see that it's not cheap, but it's an amazing experience. Yep. There's not really any British tour operators running specific skiing packages to New Zealand. So it is a bit of a DIY job. You can check out the National Tourist website, newzealand.com. It's got a good section on skiing there. It is possible to fly directly into Queenstown itself, one of the most spectacular airports in the world. And I did a quick search for next July, sort of mid-season, peak season, if you like, in New Zealand. And return flights from London to Queenstown cost from around £1,600, with just a stop in Singapore and Auckland. Church, it's pretty good, actually. And that's with Air New Zealand. And you could get it down to £1,300 with 4 stops through a combination of different airlines. Oh. But £1,600 looks like a solid deal to me with Air New Zealand. So if you've got the chance, if you've got a bit of time and you feel like something different and you don't mind getting in an airplane to cross the other side of the world, I love it. Just go for it. Sounds good. What a good trip. Would you do it, Rob? Would you do it now? I would. Would you? Right. Yeah, I haven't been back to New Zealand in over 10 years. And I'd love to go back and ski in New Zealand again. I had some of the best times of my life in New Zealand and skiing in New Zealand. back in the day, Dom. No, it's an amazing place, and yeah, you can't compare the ski resorts to the ski resorts in the Alps. It's very different, but it's just so much fun. The atmosphere is always good. It's very social, and the terrain in those ski resorts is great. They might be small, but there's really good terrain, good lift systems. They're very organized, highly organized. A little bit like in America where everything's super slick.
Oh wow!
In those commercial resorts are, the commercials, the club feels can be a little bit more relaxed, shall we say?
Very good. What a good story. That's a nice one, Robert. So I'd say that's a wrap for this week. We have covered some pretty cool news stories. We've covered New Zealand. We've covered Vaujany, 2 very different destinations there, that's for sure. Certainly a long way apart. And we will have a special edition podcast coming up on British Columbia ski resorts. That was super interesting, where we interviewed Amber Torno, who was based in Squamish, just outside Whistler. And that's our special edition podcast coming out in 1 week's time. And of course, Rob, I will be seeing you this weekend and next weekend at the ski show. NEC this weekend, 14th, 15th of October, and the following week at XL, 21st, 22nd. What more can we get excited about? It'll be good to see you, Rob.
Well, it would be good to see you too. And the next time we record a podcast, I mean, hopefully we're still as friendly as we are now after we're going to be spending so much time together over the next 10 days or so. But we'll have a lot to talk about, won't we? We will have a lot to talk about.
Plenty to talk about. So listeners, don't forget to leave a review for us, as long as it's a good one. It helps other fellow skiers find us. So look out for the Whiteout. Leave a review, 5-star review, saying how amazing Rob and Dom are. And we will see you next time, Rob. Until the weekend, adios.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Mais non, talkie-walkie.
I'm pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.